Hi. I can't believe October is over. Where did spooky season go? I literally, I don't know about you guys, but I felt like October was just gone. That was the fastest October has ever went by. And I'm so glad I decorated for spooky season in the beginning of September so I could enjoy it longer because it's gone. And it's still fall. I am a firm believer that November is still fall, but it's not spooky season. That's the difference. So it's over, and that means it's time to talk about the books I read in October. So let's get started. I had a pretty good reading month. I read so many books. I don't know how I did it, but I did it, and we're gonna talk about it now. I don't even know where to start. Okay, I'm gonna start by talking about an ebook that I think I honestly started in August, but it took me a while to get through it, so I finished it this month. I think I read the last third this month, so it counts. That is The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. This book is about a sorority of witches. It has two points of view, two different girls, and one of them is a junior who's been in the sorority. The other one is a freshman who's getting into the sorority. I don't know. I really liked this book when it first started. I thought it was so fun. It was Mean Girls, Gossip Girl kind of clickiness to it with the sorority, and the plot was a little bit of a mystery, and I was really enjoying the first half, and then the second half just fell flat. It just felt outlandish, and I know it's a story about witches, but it was their personal plots just felt so far-fetched. It fell flat, and I didn't really enjoy the second half, and there is a sequel, but I just don't think I'm gonna read it because everything I enjoyed about the first half just gone by the second. I wrote down 3 stars because I did enjoy the first half. I just didn't enjoy the second half. So 3 stars. It was perfect for spooky season. The vibes were there. The first physical book I finished this month was The Carrow Haunt by Darcy Coates. I usually read one of her books every year, or just great for spooky season. So this one was about this person named Remy that does tours of this local haunted house, and this person approaches her and he's hey, I want to get a group together to spend 2 weeks in this house investigating what makes it haunted, learning about the house, whatever. So it's a group of strangers staying in this haunted house, and they're trapped there because there's this storm, and they can't leave because the road, the water, because they're stuck there. It reminded me of Haunting of Hill House, the book. The setup is the same, group of random strangers staying in a house to figure out why it's haunted, whatever. But I didn't like the Haunting of Hill House book, but I like this one a lot. The setting was perfect. I loved the assortment of people, and it was just so interesting, and I loved hearing the story behind the house and why it was haunted. That was really fun. I really was enjoying this book. And so then okay, this is not a spoiler because it says it on the back of the book. People start dying, and you don't know, is it one of them? Is it a ghost? Is there someone else in the house? You don't know why they're dying. And so then it kind of felt And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. And so that was fun too. I was really loving this book. And then it got to I don't know, the last 80 pages, because this book's kind of thick. And basically the ending ruined how much I liked the book, because it just got so unrealistic. And yeah, I know it's a ghost story, but the human plots, the way they were tied into nice, it was a nice little bow at the end, it ruined it. It shouldn't have had this nice little perfect ending, because it kind of made the rest of the book not matter, if that makes sense. I can't go into details because spoilers, but yeah, I really liked the rest of the story. I didn't find this one that scary. It was just spooky vibes, but it wasn't scaring me. One night I was reading it, I played some spooky, a spooky playlist on Spotify, and that night I was scared. And I don't know if it's because the climax of the book was scary, or if it was just the music. I honestly think it was the music that was scaring me. I actually felt anxiety. And so I turned that playlist off, and I read the rest of the book without it. I'm giving it 4 stars, I think. Just because the ending was that annoying that it literally, I thought I was gonna give this 5 stars. I gave The Haunting of Ashburn House by her. But that ending, bumped it down to 4 stars, I think. Maybe 4.5. I just can't decide. But I liked most of it, just not the ending. Okay. The next book I'm going to talk about is Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I did a reading vlog for this book where I in-depth compared it to the movie. So full of spoilers, but I did give a lot of thoughts on this. So this is a book about a family of witches, and there's a curse on them, and it follows 2 sisters, Gillian and Sally. And they also have like aunts that are witches and their aunts raise them. And then Sally has 2 daughters that are witches. And it's just like a nice, cozy, witchy read. And it can get a little dark. It has a whimsical feeling to it. And if you've seen the movie, it's not as like whimsical as the movie. But like the story is told, like the writing is like someone's telling a story to you. There's like very little dialogue because it just feels like someone like sitting here telling you a story. And there's like no chapters. There's like sections that are like 70 or 80 pages long. And so like because of those 2 details of the writing, the middle felt like a little slow to me. And at one point I was kind of like, I'm just reading this to have read it. But by the end, I decided I really liked the book plot. And I like the plot of the book better than the plot of the movie just because like the movie changed some things I felt like changed the feeling of it. I think the movie is still really cute and it has like a higher rewatch value than like I don't like I'd ever read this again. But I did enjoy this book. I thought it was really cute. I'm glad I read it. I really liked the like family ties in this. And I probably will be reading more books in this series. I think I gave it 4 stars because I enjoy the plot, but like it dragged in the middle. Next book I'm talking about is The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. This is the book that my book club read this month. This is a little witchy rom-com that basically this girl named Vivian had this like fling with this guy when she was like 19 and they broke up. And she and her cousin like got drunk and like hexed him. And then 9 years later, he like comes back to town and the hex was real and he's like cursed and like all this stuff's going wrong. And so they're like, oh no, we have to fix it. And so it's like a second chance romance. This was really, really cute. Like absolutely perfect for October, okay? It was like the perfect mix of rom-com and witchy and small town and fall and Halloween because it's set the week of Halloween. Like this was so, so cute. I also really liked like there was like a mystery to it because it's like learning about the hex. Like was it really something she did? Is there something else going on? Like why is this curse so big? It was like really quick writing. It was really easy to like just breeze through. I liked them together, but I will say a big part of their connection was like their physical connection. I do think they like cared for each other, but like a lot of it was physical, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, not everyone likes that in romance. So there's that. I think I'm rating this 4 stars because it was really quick and easy to read. I really enjoyed it. I would have liked more from their romance. Like I said, it was mainly physical. But this is like a series. There's a second book that's out about her cousin and his brother. So I'm looking forward to reading that one next year because I did really enjoy the writing and the town. And I would love to revisit it in another book. Also, the little chapters all have this picture. Isn't that so cute? Anyway, the second ebook that I read this month was The Maid by Nina Prose. I had actually never heard of this book, but just like came across it in Libby. And I was like, oh yeah, thriller. I'll download it. Sounds interesting. So the premise of this book is basically the main character, her name is Molly, and she works as a maid at this like high class hotel. And one day she finds a dead body in the suite that she's cleaning, and then she becomes a suspect. And at first I really, really liked this book. I thought it was very cleverly written and it was very unique, but over time I stopped liking it. Molly is written to be like neurodivergent, and at first I really liked that representation. I thought that was really cool, but over time it felt forced and exaggerated and selective. She doesn't understand social cues. She would like not understand something happening in a scene, but then she'd like be able to be selective by like what she tells the detectives interrogating her. And it just felt like disjointed. And this book also did that thing that I really hate where it told me about relationships. It didn't show me relationships. So there was like a found family aspect of this book. And normally like found family is great, but like I didn't feel her finding this family. It was like she told me that they were her family all of a sudden. And I just don't like that. And so yeah, I really liked the first half. The second half fell flat. The more I thought about it, the more like I didn't like this book. And I did like do some reading about this book. Like I read reviews, like whatever. It was the winner for the Goodreads book thing of 2022 in the mystery category, which is a bit surprising because I feel like it like wasn't that good. However, it is a debut novel from that author, and for a debut novel, I thought it was really good. I like kind of guessed the ending, but it was still like a good twist. Like I think it was a good mystery. There was just things I didn't really like about it. I still, for the most part, liked the plot, liked the setup. I did like Molly. I don't know. I feel like I only said negative things about it, but I wrote down 3.5 stars for a rating. It was definitely a unique thriller, I think. Even though I kind of guessed it, I feel like it was unique in the way it was written. I honestly kind of forgot I read it. So I'm going to talk about all of the audiobooks that I read this month. It was a month of rereads, let me tell you. First, I reread The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I actually don't know how to say his last name. That is the first Percy Jackson book, if you don't know. Percy Jackson is basically a like story about like the Greek gods if they had children and they go on adventures and stuff. I actually have not read the books since I was like in middle school. So it's been a while, but the Disney Plus show is coming out soon, so I wanted to reread the first book in preparation for that show starting. I really enjoyed my reread. It was really fun. I read that series like a lot in like middle school and high school because it was like a book I had on my Nook, so I had it on my phone, so I would just read it all the time. Now that I'm reading it as an adult, it's like a lot darker than I remember it being. Like they kill people with like no hesitation and like no reaction, and they're literally like 11 years old. Like it's kind of insane how dark it gets. But anyway, I enjoyed my reread. It was really fun. I will probably continue the series, but not right away. I also continued my reread of the Hunger Games trilogy this month, so I reread Catching Fire and Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. This is the second and third book in the trilogy. YA dystopian. You've all heard of the Hunger Games. If you haven't read it since you were in middle school, read it again. I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm telling you, those books are chef's kiss. So yeah, I enjoyed my reread of those. I cried like always, and I'm looking forward to the prequel movie coming out in November. I'm going to start my reread of that book soon. Okay, so the next audiobooks I listened to were still rereads, but it was Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber, because A Curse for True Love came out in October. And I read these books for the first time in April, I think, and I really, really love them. Like, I was in such a big reading slump after I finished Once Upon a Broken Heart. I loved it so much. And the second one ended in such a cliffhanger. I've been dying to get the third one. So I reread those this month. If you don't know, basically these books are, the series is kind of like a sequel series to Caraval by Stephanie Garber. You don't have to read that series first. It does spoil some things in that series if you read that one after. I personally like A Once Upon a Broken Heart better than Caraval, but they're both good. It's basically like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a fantasy fairy tale. This girl makes a deal with a fate, and a fate is like a immortal magic being. And she makes a deal with him and then has to like do this thing he says, and she travels to this place, and it makes no sense while I'm describing it. I don't even really like fantasy, but like I love this series so much. I could not wait for the third one to come out. So I reread those two books as audiobooks this month. And then my plan was to read A Curse for True Love as like my first read of November. But then I read it this month anyway. So this was the last physical book I read in October, A Curse for True Love. I just could not wait for this book to come out. I was so excited. I don't want to say I was disappointed, but I definitely think I overhyped it in my head, and it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't bad. Like, I still really enjoyed it, and we got other points of view in this one. I'm not going to tell you who, because that's spoilers for the first book, but it's not just Evangeline's point of view in this one. We get other points of view. If you know, you know. That was really fun, and I was really looking forward to that. But I don't know. I just felt like the second book is the best one in my opinion. This book had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. Like, all I wanted to do was read this book. I don't even know what to say about this book. Like, I wasn't let down, but I definitely expected a bit more. And that's like really all I can say, honestly. There was some like unanswered questions that I was like a little disappointed about. I just still enjoy it because I really like the love story in this, and I wanted to see them get a happy ending. So that was great. There was definitely scenes, again, I'm keeping this so vague because spoiler free. There's definitely scenes between the couple where I was like I was so rooting for them, and I did like enjoy them. I wish there was like a bit more of them as a couple and a bit more of that character. If you know, you know. Anyway, 4 stars. It was not exactly what I was expecting, but it was still really good. I still really, really recommend this trilogy. So good. Like, I literally, so good. The second one is my favorite. So that's all the books I read this month. I'm really not sure how I read as many books as I did because I read like 11, I think. And I know like one of those was like an ebook that I like started before and finished this month. But also I started an ebook this month that I didn't finish. So like it really all balances out if you think about it that way. 11 books is like a lot, and I'm just like not sure how I did that. I enjoyed the books I read. I had a good time reading the books I read. Even though there were some flaws in all of them, I had a good time. So that's what I read this month. And now I'm going to talk about the books that I bought in October. I did a much better job of limiting my spending than I did in September. So the first book I got this month was Cassandra Clare's new release that I was looking forward to, Swordcatcher. This is her first adult high fantasy book. And I'm not a really big fan of high fantasy. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of fantasy in general, but definitely like high fantasy. I've only read a couple, but it's Cassandra Clare, so I want to read it. I mean, I haven't read all of her books. Like, I haven't read her like middle grade series. I've only read like the Shadowhunter books, but I do like her writing and I do like her world building. And this is going to be like a whole separate world from Shadowhunter, so I'm definitely interested in seeing what she creates outside of that world. I'm looking forward to reading this, but I probably won't get to it this year. It is pretty chunky. I don't even know what it's about, to be honest, and even if I read the inside of the cover, I would not be able to tell you, because how do you describe fantasies? So that was the first book I got this month. So now I'm going to tell you the backstory of me getting a copy of A Curse for True Love. If you've been following along, then you know that I've been getting both the original cover and the UK cover of these books because the UK covers are literally gorgeous. So, you know, I ordered a copy from Amazon, just the regular cover, just black with like the flowery thing on it. It has like the pretty spine. I think the spine's a little too similar to Once Upon a Broken Heart, but anyway. And then of course I ordered the UK one, which I think this is my favorite UK one out of all of them because like it's literally gorgeous, and the quote on the back of it, "May the best villain win." And then, I don't know if you're like following along with this, but it had like surprise covers in them. So you can get 4 different ones. So the one I got was the apple. If you know who that represents, then you know who that represents. I like visually, I wanted a different one, but like knowing they represent characters, the apple is the best one to get. So like this is just absolutely beautiful. This is my favorite one of all the UK covers. So I ordered the Amazon one and I ordered the UK one. Like I pre-ordered both of them like a few weeks ago. And I was like waiting for them to arrive, and the Amazon one said it was gonna arrive like Monday, the day before it came out. And I was like, cool. And then it changed it to Tuesday. And I was like, that's fine. I probably wasn't gonna start until Tuesday anyway. And then Tuesday it changed it. Actually Tuesday it was like still arriving tonight. And it was like 8:30 and I was like, you're not arriving tonight. And then Wednesday morning, I had decided, okay, I'm buying another copy of this book because I'm starting it tonight. And then Amazon updated and said either Wednesday or Thursday, or you can get a refund. And I was like, I'm buying another copy because I need to start it right now. So then I went to Barnes & Noble and got the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, which I don't love this cover. Like, I mean, it's fine. Like, it's not ugly. It's just like, and I love pink, but I think it's just like too much pink. But anyway, there's like 3 different editions she did that have like alternate epilogues. Like there's like a normal epilogue, and then there's like a epilogue that like could have been. I did like the epilogue that was in this copy. I mean, I was fine with the book ending the way it did, but also that epilogue was like cute and fun to read. Also, no, there's more to this story. Okay, so I had these books shipped to my mom's house because there's like issues with like having stuff shipped to my house. So sometimes if it's important, I'll ship it to her house. And so she was like following along these chronicles. So I sent her like a picture, like a really silly selfie of me, like me in with this book, because I was like so excited to finally have it. And her response was sending me a picture of this because it arrived the same day. But I was already home with the book I purchased, and I was like, whatever, I'm just keeping the 3rd copy. And I was like, Mom, I like bought this copy because that hadn't arrived yet. And she was like, well, Amazon said it didn't arrive. And I was like, Mom, the Amazon one is the black one. This is the UK one. And she was like, how do you keep it all straight? And I'm like, because I'm a reader. So yeah, so now I have 3 copies of this book. And so I did do better with buying books this month on the one hand, but on the other hand, I have 3 copies of this book. So there's that. So for bookish like thoughts or news of the month, the biggest thing on my mind right now is the fact that Iron Flame is coming out in like a couple weeks. In like a week? Is it like a week? Oh my God. I'm so excited for Iron Flame. Like, I'm literally so excited. The big news that dropped this week about Fourth Wing is that it's getting a TV show adaptation on Amazon Prime, I think, which I'm like really excited about. I know some people are like nervous because like fantasy doesn't always translate well in adaptation form, because it's like you can't like what if the dragons are not good? Like what if the CGI dragons are not good? But I'm still so excited because it's like I'm always so excited to see books I like turned into adaptations. And I know they're not always good, but I just think it's so fun to like see something you love. Like see it. Like it's so cool. And I'm really, really excited for it. I'm really excited to see that show, and I've said I'm really excited too many times, but I'm gonna keep saying it because I'm really excited. And I've already told my boyfriend that he has to watch it with me, which he should not have a problem with because he likes fantasy, so like why not? Also, it is going to be a TV show, which is like, I'm so glad that adaptations are being made into TV shows now instead of movies, because you can just do so much more with TV shows because there's just more time. You don't have to cut out important details. And so I'm very excited it's a show and not a movie, because that right there means it's going to be better than it could have been. But my bookish thought on the Fourth Wing adaptation is that I'm excited and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to the next book. I'm literally looking forward to it so much. And it's going to take me so long to read it because it's so long. All right, so that is my October wrap up. Those are the books I read, the books I bought, and the bookish thoughts I have in my head. So yeah, I had a good spooky month. I know only some of the books were like spooky themed, but I had a good time reading regardless of what I was reading. I hope you guys had a good spooky month. I hope we continue having a nice fall. The weather is jumping back and forth a little bit, but the leaves are like peak color right now, so that I'm very excited about. So yeah, thank you for watching my video. Maybe you'll watch another one, and yeah, bye.
Old man says hello. Look at that old man. He's looking so old. Say goodbye, Bailey. Yeah? Look at that tongue. Okay, bye.
Go away, potential spam.